minimum height requirements for berms is the mid-axle height of the largest piece of equipment that travels that roadway. Berms. How are they constructed? What are berms supposed to do? How do they work? To help us understand these things, we need to understand the weaker the material a berm is made out of, the larger the berm must be. The stronger the material a berm is made of, the smaller the berm can be. Now, what's this mean? While the adequacy of a berm is normally judged based on its height, we need to understand the effectiveness of the berm also depends on its width or thickness and its firmness. If a berm is made out of a fine, loosely compacted material, such as sand, gravel, or crushed stone, the larger the berm needs to be because of the weaker construction characteristics. What happens when a tire strikes this type of berm?
To illustrate this, we'll use this toy truck.
The tire penetrates the fine material and begins to compact the material under it. It will continue to penetrate to the point where it will hold the vehicle weight and then start to climb up the berm. Once the tire starts to climb, the tire again penetrates and compacts the material before it starts to climb again. Keep in mind, though, once the tire has penetrated and climbed halfway through the berm, it starts going out the other side, which provides little resistance. Another way a roadside berm provides restraint is for the berm to deflect the tire and redirect the vehicle back onto the road. To do this, the berm material must be firm and the inside slope of the berm must be cut at a sharp angle. If a berm is too loose, it will provide little resistance and the vehicle may easily pass through it. If the berm is firm and is not steep, it could become a ramp and the vehicle could ride up and over it. Berms constructed of broken rock will normally provide more restraint due to the interlocking and frictional resistance of the rocks. The berm made of very strong material, such as concrete barriers or large boulders, can be made smaller in size because of its stronger composition. You may have seen concrete barriers on interstate highways and at road construction sites. They're used to control the traffic. Have you noticed the black marks made from tires striking these barriers? When a tire strikes the barrier, it can't penetrate it, so the only choice is for the tire to try and climb over the barrier. If the tire can't climb over the barrier, it is redirected back into the roadway. Boulders are sometimes used as a form of berm, especially at mines where they are a natural product of the operation, or in areas where large rock formations are present in the overburden. If you drive on haul roads where berms are made of large boulders, be aware that an impact with them could possibly cause injury. Smaller boulders used to minimize impact will slide a considerable distance, and therefore should not be placed close to the edge. For these reasons, boulders are not the best means of providing vehicle restraint. Berms larger than the required mid-axle height should be used in areas where it is reasonable to expect more adverse conditions, such as where equipment would have more speed or might impact the berm more head-on. An example would be where there is a curve at the bottom of a grade. In such cases, berm size should be increased. The Bureau of Mines conducted tests to find how large a berm would have to be to stop a runaway truck. They found that a berm would have to be built 3 times the mid-axle height of a truck 85 tons or less. For trucks larger than 85 tons, the minimum height of the berm would have to be 4 times the axle height. For instance, if the mid-axle height of a truck is 6 feet, the berm would have to be 24 feet high, which means the berm would be approximately 48 feet wide at the base. Many of our mines don't have enough room on their haul roads to place a berm 48 feet wide. There would be no room for the trucks to pass. The base of the berm must be wide enough to support the needed height. This is usually a 2-to-1 ratio, when the berm is constructed of an earthen material. A 2-to-1 ratio makes the sides of the berms approximately 45 degrees. If both the inside and outside slopes are at the material's angle of repose, this angle of repose is sufficient for the berm to hold the needed height. Haul roads need to be wide enough to allow berms to be constructed on a firm foundation, level with the roadway. If the roadway is inadequate and a portion of the berm extends over the hillside, the berm may offer little resistance and be more likely to give way when impacted. Another thing to consider is what effect weather has on berms. Once a berm has been built, it must be maintained on a regular basis. Snow, rain, and wind erode soft earthen material. The cycle of freezing and thawing also weakens berms. And gravity can affect the berm so much that it no longer meets the mid-axle height requirement.